Guys, we're in the backyard of the villa, and I'm about to show you the most beautiful view, or most beautiful sunset I've ever seen here. Look at this. Oh my God. What's up, YouTube? It's your favorite traveler, Mikey. I am here with Mary Margaret, who's in front of us, refused to be on camera. It's all good, but we got my guy, Mr. Raj,
okay,
my partner in crime, many crimes, that is, hair company, villa. I don't even know what else at this point. That's okay. We are headed to Playa Chiquita, which will probably be my next video. But for now, Raj and I wanted to talk about the pros and cons and crazy of the Dominican Republic. So, Raj, where do you think we should start?
Definitely start with the pros.
The pros.
It's an awesome place.
Yeah, it's, and I mean, out of everywhere we've traveled, or you traveled, I've traveled, there's something about it. I mean, besides that we have a place here, you have a couple places here. Mm-hmm. It can feel a little bit like home, despite being very much unlike home.
Yeah, DR always feels like home to me because I think it's the people, right? Like, the people are just the most friendly people you'll ever meet. And they just have a way of feeling like family. You know, they'll welcome you in, they'll want to cook for you, they'll do things, you know, they'll take you places. It just feels like you're hanging out with family.
Yeah, I agree. I think I go certain places and I spend time there and I just don't feel, you get that sense of just being a little uncomfortable. I feel very comfortable here. And I feel like anywhere in the world, people are like, is it safe? Every place, where I live in Atlanta, 2 blocks down, people are getting shot. Okay, so nowhere in this world is technically safe. You have to be a little careful everywhere you go. But we're walking down the street. We're on a nice street. But I have the GoPro out. Not a worry in the world that someone's going to come try to take our GoPro.
No.
Right? What are some of the other benefits? You like the weather here? It's always hot.
It's always hot. I love the hot weather, so for me that's great because you can always jump in a pool and cool off, for the ocean, which we're about to do. And so yeah, the weather is great. The food is another great one.
Food is actually really good. Mary Margaret, food, chime in.
Yeah, the food is great.
Mary Margaret approves of food. The seafood here, phenomenal.
Fresh seafood, the most fresh fruits. You get fresh mangoes, fresh coconuts, fresh papayas. Everything is just, you know, passion fruit. I love passion fruit.
I remember the first time we came here, we went to a place in Sosua called Fusion. And I'll never forget, they pulled out this lobster. They knew Raj liked lobster. They pulled out this lobster that was literally the size of my torso. I'd never seen a lobster, I don't think, ever that big. And I was just like, holy cow, right away, I knew we were gonna be in a great place. Oh, what is this coming? Okay. Oh, that's the water truck. So, despite being on the water, do that right here. That probably is a good segue, especially as a property owner, into maybe one of the cons. Yep. Is they still are working on infrastructure, at least where we are in Santo Domingo, the main city, or Santiago is probably not the case, I'm not 100% sure. But the infrastructure is still not complete. So what you just saw was a water truck. So to our villa, we quite often get a shipment of water. Good old police there, nice. Cops here are great. We get a shipment of water, so a truck comes. We have a, what's that called, a cistern?
Yeah, a cistern. So
cistern, fill it with water.
And it just pumps the water into the house.
Pumps the water, yeah, and that pumps the water into the house. What are some of the other maybe negatives so far here, Raj?
The roads.
Okay.
If you're here in, at least in Sosua, where we are, you gotta have a truck, because if you drive a car, you're gonna end up in a pothole that you can never come out of.
Yeah, there's some wild, even just on this street, there's some wild potholes. I mean, there's one that, I don't know where it goes. I looked down, I was like, that's pretty deep. Like if something, an animal or something even fell in there, not just a car. Mm-hmm. Pretty wild. Okay, so negative for me. Mosquitoes. Now, I'm not going to show you the mosquito bites that I just recently experienced. I am highly allergic to mosquitoes outside of the USA, and they swell up like absolute crazy. So in the beginning of the trip, I was not as careful about covering my ankles and putting on off bug spray. That's all you really need to do, is just, you know, spray on some off. But mosquitoes for me, they just tear me up. Other negative, actually a positive is it's still pretty cheap here.
Oh, it's so cheap to live here. I think like once you get here, then like at that point, like food, and if you were staying in a hotel or whatever, it's all so cheap to live here. You could live here, you could live amazing life here on like probably $50,000 or $60,000 a year salary.
Oh yeah, if you're making 50, 60 G's and you could live remotely, you definitely could live here and do very, very well. Yeah, I think the living cost is pretty good. Now, you're not going to be on an oceanfront villa, probably not, but you're still going to be able to be in a nice place, nice safe area.
You could easily be like, say, within a block or two walk of the ocean.
Oh, most definitely. Places just right off the ocean are very, very inexpensive, and I do like that it's easy to get around here, especially if you have a car. We drove down the coast pretty easy. The thing you got to be careful of are speed bumps.
Speed bumps. Oh my gosh, the speed bumps.
They love the speed bumps here. And the crazy thing is there's these motorcycles that come flying by. There's these tiny, I think they're probably about 150cc motorcycles. Oh, hi, doggy. We always see dogs here. About 150cc motorcycles. They're not really fast. They're not like the bikes we have in the US, where they're like a 600cc bike in the US is like, oh, you got a little kid bike.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, you know, in US it's 1,000, 1,200 cc's. So they have a few of those bikes here, but not really. But the motorcycles you do have to be a little careful of. And have you ever even seen someone wear a helmet here?
What's a helmet?
Yeah. They definitely are not into wearing helmets. Cars will pass you, so that's probably in the crazy category a little bit, is the way that people drive here.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It's
very aggressive.
But, you know, when we're driving, we don't drive real fast because we're just like, we're here, we're not in a hurry. Mm-hmm. So what do you think about, wouldn't you just recommend just taking your time?
Oh yeah, definitely. Take your time here. Take it slow.
Hola, ¿cómo está?
Yeah. Okay. Hola. So you asked me. Yeah, take your time. Go slow. You know, safety first. I think that's all really important here, especially at night if you're driving through some of these mountain roads.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Because you got to remember, a lot of the roads you drive on here are just one lane each way. And then people try to pass other people, so they're coming head on towards you. So you definitely need to leave that extra space and that extra time for you to avoid oncoming traffic. We'll just say that.
Yeah, we've had some crazy experiences. We actually had somewhat a close to life-ending experience there's a mountain in between Puerto Plata and Santiago, and it's this really windy road. People are flying up and down, and one car came into us oncoming lane. Our driver, Mr. Junior, who will soon be on my channel because he's dying to be on a video, mm-hmm. He slams on the brakes. Raj, you were sitting in the middle, right?
I was in the middle in the back seat, and I ended up in the front seat.
In the literally kissing he literally kissed the dashboard.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah, that was pretty wild, actually. That is like going from here to where we are now in Sosua area to Santiago. Like going over that mountain is treacherous.
Yeah, it's not far. It's almost like going from like Sandy Springs to Atlanta, but it takes a long time because, again, the roads here are pretty narrow and windy.
Yeah, I'll give you an example. If you can see behind me, like, we're on a pretty...
This is a two-car road.
It's like maybe a two-car road, but there's no sidewalks. So sidewalks are something that I guess are kind of coming to the country, because in the main roads they are building some sidewalks. Here there was no, like, you looking at the property lines, there's no way you can put a sidewalk in here. But we'll probably get a few more. I got to stop here because we are at the entrance for Playa Chiquita, which is going to be the next video. Okay, I'm soaking wet. I just took a dip in Playa Chiquita. Very amazing. So Raj, let's get back to the good, the bad, and the crazy as it's getting a little darker here in the Dominican Republic. I'll give you a bad. but it's not really much we can do about it, is if you want to go to the North Coast, pretty much you're going to fly, like anywhere from southern United States, you're going to be flying American Airlines.
Yeah, through Miami.
Through Miami.
Which is not our favorite airport.
Not our favorite airport. I've had multiple issues with my bags getting messed up going through Miami. If Delta could fly from Atlanta, Delta, we love you. If Delta could fly direct from Atlanta to Puerto Plata, POP Airport, life would good. Even if it would fly to Santiago.
Direct, yeah.
If Delta flew direct, Mary Margaret, wouldn't you rather do that and then do that hour drive?
Yeah.
Hour and a half? Yeah, for sure. So if Delta used to actually have that flight.
Yeah.
So I think when COVID hit, it cut it out. And apparently they're building, not apparently, it's in the works, but they say they're going to do it. They're going to build a new highway that cuts through the mountain.
Yes.
Isn't that what they said?
Yes.
Yeah, so it's going to cut through the mountain, and it's going to make getting from Santiago, which is in the middle of the island, to here, the north coast, Puerto Plata, Sosua, Cabarete, a lot easier. Because as we mentioned earlier, going over that mountain is a little crazy. I can say another good is how lush this country is.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
I mean, it's absolutely incredible how many trees and how would you explain it, Raj?
It's just it's got a perfect combination of just sun and rain. So like it rains a little bit, not overly, not a lot, but enough just to keep all the vegetation really lush. And then it's always sunny, which obviously plants love sun.
Yeah, it's, I mean, the palm trees, and I would definitely say that all the fresh coconuts is a plus.
Yeah, another plus here is that getting stuff done, like labor, we touched on this earlier, is super cheap. Like, you could have a full-time chef here year-round, cook you like 3 meals a day, and it'll probably cost you like less than $25,000 a year.
Yeah, that's pretty incredible, and that's including food.
Probably including the food.
Wow. So yeah, that's.
And they'll do all the grocery shopping and everything.
Yeah. So if you know, I know some people are like, "What the hell? I'm not going to pay for that," but you could also do. But you could. I mean, it's not that bad considering how much we spend on food in the U.S., especially with inflation at this point, to have that kind of level of service. And I think overall, I think one of the bad, though, getting into service is the attention to detail on some things is definitely not what we're accustomed to in the U.S., like as far as speed. You know, they're definitely, look, when you heard about island time, they're definitely,
island time, yeah.
It is island time. Like 11 o'clock is definitely 11:15, 11:30. So, you know, that's just kind of some of the things you have to deal with. But I don't want to say you get used to it, but I guess you get used to it a little bit. You try to chill out. Like I'm sitting there, I'm like, la cuenta, like for my check. we gotta go. So I try to chill out a little
then
bit.
You realize you're in paradise, and you're like, oh, it's okay.
Yeah, and you know, you just kind of, that's how it kind of goes. So it's interesting. What other kind of things can you think of, Raj? Hola, buenas. Can you think of that's a little, these motorcycles, I'm telling you, extra on the crazy. Getting out of the way. There's some beautiful houses on this road, by the way. Let's see some of the other positive. Mary Margaret, any positive, negatives, crazy?
Oh, crazy. One crazy thing, sorry, is there are no DUI laws here.
Oh.
So drinking and driving is completely legal. So that's crazy. So that could be a negative too. So you just have to be careful, especially driving at nighttime.
Yeah, I mean, the driving here goes back to, once again, like we don't really drive that much at night. That's where you saw Junior, he comes in. It's a little much, like, and we're driving around this little chimney, which doesn't give us a ton of protection. It's great for the island, but yeah, driving at night, and it's kind of dark a lot of places too, like the lighting and such. I think we've gotten accustomed to a lot of the newer LED, very bright lights on the streets, where like this street, there's no lights, and you just get kind of little bushes here. Kind of interesting, but so yeah, I think that's a little overview. If you have any questions about the North Coast or Dominican Republic in general, leave a comment and I'll try to get back to you. Just having fun trying to do my daily vlog, whether it's a drone footage, walking around, giving advice, just kind of something that I can go back to, or Raj is going to be a bunch of these videos we can go back to and look at and say, oh my God, you remember that trip, or you remember that time? We're probably going to look,
Oh my God.
you know, a lot younger when we're watching that compared to today. So yeah, we'll be back with another video.